Hello everybody, Suffolk Hobbit, and on this very windy Sunday afternoon, here's my High Elf, well, Lord of the Rings High Elf Army Showcase. Here they are in all their glory. Now some of these models here are the ones that were, well, that I bought way back when the game was first ever released. There's a few models here that escaped my initial model getting rid of as I grew up and got older and went to college and things and moved house and stuff, and yeah, there's a few here that did survive. So some of these are real vintage, and some of the high elves here are actually some of the first Lord of the Rings models I ever painted. So I am toying with the idea of actually repainting all the swordsmen and the bowmen, but we'll see, because as we all know, time is always getting away from us. So depends when I'm free enough to do it, but I would like to eventually. But they hold up pretty well now, considering, so I'm pretty pleased. Um, but yeah, here they are. I'm sure you can see a few characters and things. We're going to have a little run through. This army isn't a particularly well built army in terms of actually gaming with or anything like that, because, well, to be quite frankly, I've not consciously bought them to be used as a gaming army. Because I've focused more on Arnor and the other Lord of the Rings models that I have. These guys I've bought sort of as and when, just to enjoy painting them. I've always enjoyed the High Elves. I've always loved the models and the characters and the fluff, but it's just it's just it not being an army that I've fully concentrated on, sadly. So now I'm starting to tie up other armies and things that I want to do. I'd like to work on these guys more, start creating some real, armies and real army lists to really theme it up, and yeah, go from there. So that's why you'll see there's not a huge amount of spearmen in my collection, which is where most high elf players, I would imagine, would recommend thoroughly of having plenty of. I've only got 5. I've bought one or two off eBay over a few months, last year or the year before, just now and again for silly money, but just now and then, because I'm not keen on the plastic ones. I'd rather get the metal ones, so I'm also going to have to pay a smidgen more. But yeah, here they are in all the glory of the characters I've got. I do intend on buying all the characters for the elves, because, well, I think, to be honest, they're some of the best designed Games Workshop miniatures there are. It's as simple as that, to be honest. They are superb. I want to get the brothers. I'm trying to think what else there is. I'd like to try and get all the different versions of Elrond, but again, cost is ridiculous on eBay. Maybe Games Workshop might re-release them. They've brought quite a few models out again, which is fantastic. I'd like to get the original Arwen model. I'm trying to think what other models there are. Glorfindel on horse, he's unarmoured, but I'd like to get that one. And obviously get the standard High Elf Captain and Banner Bearer, all that sort of stuff. Just to flesh them out and have the whole collection. And Lindir, I think Lindir's disappeared from the listings at the moment, but I'm hoping he comes back as well. And obviously some High Elf Cavalry as well. So yeah, that's on the list. That's what I've got plenty to go for as yet, but we'll go from there. So originally, I bought these guys. Well, originally I bought these guys when it first was, released the game itself, but I actually used these guys as an army as a slight allied list for my Arnor army, and I had one character that led them, and that was this fellow here, Círdan the Shipwright. Are we going to get a good focus? Come on, camera, don't let me. There we go. Now this dude I painted. Let me think. It's got to be 7 years ago, 8 years ago, might even be longer. But I love the story to this guy. I love the fact that he's portrayed as having a beard because he's so old. I love it. I think it's fantastic. And so he was going, and also obviously in the fluff it was suggested that he at least sent an army to aid Arnor. He's in the last alliance battles. There's plenty to him. And so for my army, for Arnor, and for a complimentary list, I wanted him to be there as like an actual official elf that was sending some elves with him to fight with Arnor. So that was my reason behind having him as my first ever actual character. And yeah, he's just a lovely model. There's just something about him. I've seen so many lovely paint jobs of Círdan, and you just can't. It's just something about they captured the actor, whoever it was that played him. It escapes my mind now, but whoever played him, they sculpted it so well. It really is the scene out of the last bit of the film, the third film, when they're all leaving. That's the real pose of him when he stood by the boat waiting for the hobbits to depart. It's brilliant. And what I personally did, because he's a shipwright, I painted a little nautical, well, my version of a nautical star like a compass type thing. I thought that was quite cool. You got the waves of the sea here, and you got the sunset, you know, over the sea. I thought that's quite a nice little theme for his cloak. Gave him a little bit of a themey sort of paint job. And he led a load of high elf swordsmen. Apologies, the light's a bit thingy. Yeah, a load of high elf swordsmen, and obviously, of course, bowmen. The spearmen I bought, obviously, more recently. But yeah, they work quite well in my Arnold list, so I won't bore you with these guys because you've seen these for Christ knows how many years now, but they're painted as they originally were back in the day. Blimey, I think back then it was like regal blue, shining gold, fortress grey, all that sort of the old Citadel colours. Obviously that's more like Cantor blue now, and Guinness gold and things like that. But these guys, I do intend to repaint them eventually. I mean, they hold up okay for now. They're normal infantry and things. I'm pleased with them. They still do the job, and they still look quite nice, which I'm pleased with. I recently rebased them actually as well. So yeah, I'm pleased with, you know, how they come out, but they're showing their age. When I painted these guys a long time ago, but they do well for now, so I'm really pleased with them. There's no particular order to this, guys. I do apologise, but so here's the spearmen. They're more recently painted. There we go. Lighting's a bit off, but I hope you can see them in all their glory. I used my own little homemade wash of Mornfang brown, just mixed with water, just to go over the shields to help highlight the detail. And then I went over it with a highlight of burnished gold, which I sort of dry brushed on. Got the gems painted on there as well. Gems painted on this guy as well. I kind of posed that shield a little bit differently, just did it just a bit different, you know. That's quite cool. But yeah, I plan to get some more of these guys, obviously the metal versions, so I will be paying some silly money on eBay, but that's just me. So what can I do? What can you say? It's just me. But I hope you like them. I do love them. I love the miniatures. I like all the elf miniatures. I think it's so nice. So back to the characters. Okay, let's get a bit of focus going on here. Come on. There we go. So we have got an original Glorfindel model. Now, it goes without saying, I will be repainting this guy because I started painting him last year or maybe the year before, and as you can see, he's not really finished, and he looks a bit sort of, well, his face is a bit off, isn't it? But as I was painting him, I don't know, I couldn't get into him. I couldn't get into painting him. I was experimenting with different colours and things, and I wanted to give him a bit of a wood elf sort of look. And yeah, I just, as the hours went on, I thought, you know what, I'm really not feeling it with this guy. So I stopped painting him, and I'm going to repaint him soon. I'll probably clean him up, and we'll go from there, sort of thing. There we go. Yeah, so we'll see how we do, sort of thing, with him. But it's a shame. I do apologise, guys. My camera's going absolutely crazy. There we go. Yeah, so we'll see how we do with this guy. But it's a lovely model. I'm hoping to get him on horseback as well, the unarmed on horseback. We'll see how that goes on eBay and whatnot. It's not too badly priced, considering he's OOP sort of thing, but he's a reasonable price, we'll see. But there's Glorfindel, one of the original models that come out. And then we have got the very popular armoured Glorfindel. We see this guy a lot now, don't we? There he is, there's my version anyway. Looking a bit rock and roll there, as a high elf can. So I've done lovely, you know, nice little highlight. Tried to make his cloak almost sort of glow, sort of lovely white shade. Little cat hair there, some bit of dust going on there on his face. Down on that, oh, still there. It's going to come off. Ooh, there we go, I think it's better. No, it's still there. I'll brush it off in a bit. But I went for a nice little highlight of silver on the crest of his helmet there. Maybe I'll leave my hand away because I don't think that's helping my poor little camera either. But yeah, you can see the silver, the highlight there. Colours are all the usual standard colours. I'm sure you guys can guess what they are. The only difference I'd say, or I assume from my point of view, is with Cantor Blue. I did mix a little bit of Mechanicus Standard in with that Cantor Blue, just to give them a slightly off shade of blue compared to most of the other high elves. But otherwise, that is Glorfindel in all his glory. Gildor model, that'd be another one to get to my collection. But holy moly, is he expensive on eBay, guys? It's madness. It's madness. There must be someone out there that'll take pity on a Lord of the Rings collector, surely. Anyone out there? Surely. Let me know. Here is Eristor. Lovely little high elf. Love this model. Really, really characterful. Really nice. Looks actually slightly more armoured than some of the other elves, in my opinion, because he's got some seriously hench armoured up greaves and whatnot going on there. Is it greaves? The leg armour? I'm trying to think now. But yeah. And also the cost of the back there, and that very nicely armoured up, lovely models. Cool that incorporated him as an actual model, because he's not a major character mentioned in the books, but it's cool he's in there. Maybe shape of things to come for new releases, who knows? But again, same colours. Nice little lovely model there. I have Gil-galad, High King. Lovely model. I personally really like this model. I know some people say he's quite static. There's, it's not a hugely sort of dynamic character model, but I really enjoy him. I think he's a smashing model. I loved painting him. Again, one of the original models that come out as a character model. You can't beat it, in my opinion, to be honest. Even some of the new Lord of the Rings miniatures, Forge World and stuff, I love them. I appreciate what they're doing, bringing them out and stuff. But, that goes without saying. They're absolutely fantastic. But I don't know, some of them aren't as good as the old original ones and things. Sorry guys, it's just my humble opinion. Still going to buy them, don't get me wrong, still love that doing it, but I'm not overly sold on some of the sculpts. The new Gandalf is a bit, I don't know, can't put my finger on it, but it's just not quite as good as some of the other ones. But anyway, moving on. So here's Gil-galad in all his glory. I went for a nice white highlight to do some details on his cloak. That's just my opinion. I wasn't going to go for like the sort of goldy sort of trim that the original model has done. I went for white because I felt they sort of popped a bit more stark, a bit more, nice highlights. And again, all the same usual colours. Nice little, try to get a little bit of simple detail on. Simple detail that was nice to look at, but not over the top, if you see what I mean. There's Gil-galad. Obviously Mr. Círdan. And then we have Elrond. Of course, we've all seen this guy. We've seen this model since day one. Again, another classic model. I'd like to repaint his flesh colour, because again, this is quite an early model that I painted. And the skin tone's a bit off compared to the rest of the elves. This guy's got more of a sort of dwarf flesh, I think, original paint colour for it. So I'll probably repaint his flesh at some point. But again, same colours as always, as I'm sure what you guys have all used and things in the past. So I'm just trying to get the light a bit better because the sun sort of disappeared a bit. But there we go. I think Goblin Green was the colour I actually used on his material here over his legs. I think it's Goblin Green back in the day, when I was still sort of 50-50 with old colours and new colours. But there he is, lovely model. Then most recently for Christmas, my lovely wife got me this Arwen on foot and mounted. Absolutely love these models. I'm saying it right now, guys. Possibly the best elf models of like the character range. Most likely the best, in my opinion. They're so full of character. Such a joy to paint. They are absolutely fantastic. And when you look at the original Arwen model, oh my god, she was an ugly, ugly model. I still want her to add to the collection, but oh my Christ, she looks awful. Both mounted with Frodo and unmounted, she just looks just awful. So anyway, yeah, when they released these ones, these girls, oh my Christ, someone did a much better job. Do you know what? I'd have to double check who did the sculpts of the originals and these ones. I'm guessing the Perry brothers, I guess, I'm not entirely sure. It tends to be the brothers did most of these, but who knows. But yeah, here's Arwen. There we go. Loved painting this model. Loved the horse. Got got a nice bit of red, subtle there, just in there. Nice bits of cream for the fur-lined cloak edging. Nice little dot of green. What I love with this model is the fact that I've kind of used the actual movie pictures and Games Workshop as well. And with the horse, I love the fact you've got these lovely bits of red and green just popping from what's otherwise quite a grey, bluey, white sort of model. The colours all blend in quite nicely, and it's fantastic to get these random bright colours pop out. So it really complements the model lovely. That's what I think anyway. It's really nice. And for Arwen's material herself, what she's actually wearing, a cloak, is it? Cloak sort of type coat thing, would you say? Not sure. But with that, I actually made up my own sort of greyish type of mix, and that was Cantor Blue and Mechanicus Standard Grey, and a little bit of pallid witch flesh, or white flesh, which is what I used to help highlight her bit by bit. Otherwise, she's as you see, is what every other painter and what I'm sure you guys have, if you've painted, have probably used yourself. It's just the whites. Dryad bark I used for her hair to give a subtle sort of highlight. I know she's got quite black hair, I think, in the films, but I wanted to try and get a bit more of a highlight to it, so that's why she's a bit brown. Dare I say, even with the highlights here, I mean, it's almost a slightly grey sort of thing, but I like it. It's a nice little, contrast. And her face is gorgeously sculpted. I spent ages getting her face as best I could. I'm happier with this face than I am this face, just because her face is slightly blotchy there, and that's how the paint dried. As I was mixing it, I realised it was starting to dry, so I probably shouldn't have rushed it, but I can always go back over it again, to be fair. But there you go, guys. That is my High Elf collection as it stands. Not overly sort of tournament ready or gaming ready. I'd imagine they do reasonably well, depending on how I use them. But I have much more to buy. And same as my Arnor army, I intend to make this a huge elf army with, like, silly amounts of models. So eventually I can have a massive, silly, huge pointed game which takes like a whole weekend to play, maybe. Who knows? Wow, it's gone really dark outside all of a sudden. So on that very dark note, I think Sauron's darkness has descended upon us. I think the elves might be going to battle even quicker at this rate. But thank you very much for watching, guys. Hey, there we go. We've seen the light. Thanks for watching, guys, as always. Thanks for your time. Always appreciate it. I've had even more subscribers in the last couple of months, so I thank all of you incredibly, ever so much. It's very humbling, and I do enjoy it, and thank you ever so much for watching this. It's great fun to know I have sort of company and enjoying these models with me. Let me know your comments, let me know what you think, any ideas, tips, tactics. I'm always willing to hear. I have to admit, I've yet to buy the new Lord of the Rings books from Games Workshop. I haven't bought any of the new rule book, the army list books, anything like that, because unfortunately my budget's tight and I've had to focus on different things, 40k, you name it. But don't you worry, I will catch up eventually. So on that note, guys, take it easy, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll see you soon.